Welcome to the great deprettifying of gaming. Ow! Okay, my normal somersault's just not going to work for this video, so just let's get into the video. Now, to me, this isn't just a topic on how video games have changed, it's how the world now perceives women who are somewhat conventionally attractive or just have any feminine traits in them at all. Unfortunately, the way the world is and the way video developers now see women is extremely weird, in my opinion. It's now not good to be seen as attractive. It's not good to be seen as sexy. It's not good to be seen as feminine. Whoa, being feminine, bad. No feminine women should be in video games anymore. And developers are also saying that women who are attractive, it's not relatable or attainable or realistic, because apparently attractive women aren't realistic. Before we start this video, I would like to point out that I think women are attractive in general, no matter how they look, their body size, their hairstyles or anything. But I feel like erasing feminine traits from a game and saying it's not attainable is kind of offensive, and it's kind of making women who are feminine and want to be feminine feel like crap, or labeling them as overly sexual because of how they were born is also quite odd. However, let's get into the meat and the potatoes of this video and have a well-rounded discussion. Let's go. Once upon a time, video game heroines looked ready for their runway. Makeup slayed. You could tell they spent time lifting weights, they were in the gym, they were running up hills with rocks, they were getting stacked to be able to defeat the baddies whilst being a baddie. Fast forward a few years, it's now become the new norm to eradicate any type of feminine energy or any type of conventionally attractive women out of video games, because apparently they just don't exist. It's not relatable, it's not reliable, and we just don't want them in video games anymore. What happened to diversity? That's gone out the window, apparently. Welcome to the great deprettifying of gaming. I personally think all women should be portrayed in video games, whether this is a conventionally attractive women or women who are less conventionally attractive. Again, I think all women are attractive and we should portray all types of women in video games. For me personally, I like putting on my lip gloss and going to the gym and lifting very heavy weights, doing a bit of fighting, a bit of kickboxing and a bit of ballet. You know, I want to do it all, and I think there's great injustice for women to just pretend that women who don't like being feminine don't exist, and it also makes women who do channel their feminine energy feel a bit silly for wanting to be feminine. So what's the deal? Are developers allergic to lip gloss and eyeliner all of a sudden? What has made the video game community hate this certain type of woman? After doing deep, extensive research, it seems that developers now want to eradicate the male gaze. They don't want men lusting after these fictional characters anymore. So by doing that, they have deprettified these types of video game characters, which I actually think is quite offensive to the woman that they're putting in games, because it's kind of implying that women who aren't feminine are not pretty, when I personally think that the women in the video games are pretty, they're just not feminine. Let's not pretend like a lot of women loved playing these characters. I loved playing a female character who is glamorous, who can fight. I mean, look at Chun-Li, she is beautiful. I think taking out these certain characters have obviously angered men, which that's a problem, to be fair. Weird. I also think that a lot of these beautiful women existed for the female gaze too. I like looking at a glamorous feminine woman as much as I like looking at a rugged, less feminine type of woman. Why can't we have both? Why? And so instead of bombshell bodies and shiny lips, we are now getting more sensible styles, body armor, different shapes and sizes, different body hair, hairy armpits, which again is completely fine, but we can't act like all types of women don't exist just because developers want to act like they don't exist. And in fairness, if you're fighting off zombies, why are your nails manicured? That's because it's a video game, it's a fantasy. And I think taking out that polished look, the manicured nails, the cute outfits, the flowing hair while she's kicking someone in the testicles is a great disjustice, because what I like about video games is escapism. The feminine is escapism. They're not real. Video games aren't real. So if we see a girl in her little shorts and she is fighting a zombie, I think personally she looks badass doing it. It shouldn't be taken offensively. And if you're offended by a woman in a video game for looking attractive, you need to look deeper inside yourself, because I think that stems from a place of insecurity or a place of hating women, which is weird. Here enters the gaming outrage, when gamers have woke up to find their favorite video character with lack of lust, lack of lip gloss, and a lot more clothing. People have been acting like they have just lost Christmas Day. Christmas has been taken from them, just like their very sexy character has been removed from their grasp. A lot of forums, a lot of gamers have been calling this the uglification of gaming. And again, I think this is a very disgusting way to look at it, because we're saying that women who aren't overly feminine, hypersexualized, are ugly. And I think this is a really bad take. Just because you can't tug on your chicken to a video game character doesn't mean that you should be mad about that. I think it's got to a point where people are really mad for the wrong reasons. I think they should be looking inwards and thinking to themselves, why have we had to take away the glamour and the beauty from video games? And honestly, man, this isn't about you. I think it actually does injustice for women in general, and because it makes us feel like if we are feminine, or if we're effeminate, or if we're sexy, then that's against the rules, and it makes us feel like we are borderline slutty, and it makes us feel like we're bad. If we want to feel sexy one day, if we want to put that lip gloss on, if we want to blow dry our hair and go to the gym, then we are doing something wrong. I think taking the glamour out of video games and the fantasy has made us feel, oh, so we shouldn't be looking like this, so we shouldn't be dressing like this. It shouldn't be an issue where people are mad because they can't look at these women in a sexual way, because that's a weird reason to be angry. Just because you can't lust over your favorite video game character, that shouldn't be an issue. That's a non-issue. The issue is that it seems that video games are pushing the agenda of feminine energy is bad. And honestly, it's not bad. I love being a feminine woman, and I'm never going to pretend like I want to be anything like these new characters out of these video games, because honestly, I don't. If I was slaying a dragon, I would want to do it in a cute outfit. I'm sorry. People are going to be watching this video and eye rolling at the fact that I just said that, and that then is the problem, because we should have rights to dress and act and be however we want to be. I've got something in my eye. And what really grinds my gears is that we still have this shirtless, snatched, beautiful men, and women are lusting, women are simping over these men all the time. And I honestly feel like it's double standards. Why are we as women allowed to be like, oh my gosh, look at those 17,000 ripped muscles on his body, look at his sweaty hair, look at that bear, look at that big furry animal, look how attractive he is. And that still is happening. We are allowed to lust over these overly conventionally attractive males in video games, whilst we are getting the depretification of women in video games, if you would like to call it that. Now, a few games, they have changed the characters over time, and the internet was very upset about this. Make them prettier! They were very upset with changing the Horizon Zero Dawn's main protagonist. As you can see, there is a difference of how she looks, and I guess this is way more realistic to say where she is in the game and what she's doing. However, do we want realism in games? Some of us do, some of us don't. So give us the options to dress and make our video game character how we would like to be perceived in video games. It would be good to have the choice. There's actually a bit of drama on Twitter because there was actually a bit of drama on Twitter because some of the fans made her, I guess, more conventionally attractive. They added a more glam style and made her look how they wanted to make her look. And a lot of video game lovers clapped back and said that we should stop making video games shallow. It's not about how the video game characters look. And honestly, to a point, I agree. If the video games developers decide to make a character look a certain way, we shouldn't be stating that that character is ugly, because that's not what you find conventionally attractive. And I think, again, there's an issue with balance here, because at the end of the day, there are so many different looking women in the world, and to say we are making them uglier is really toxic, and that's a statement that I'm never going to agree with or get behind. That's why it's important that we find balance. We shouldn't have one or the other. We should have both. We should embrace all women, all different types, all colours, all shapes, all sizes. I remember there was one video game recently where they were saying that a woman who has a waist smaller than her legs is not real, and that could never happen. And I see so many girls at the gym who have snatched waist and big legs because they've gone to the gym and they've worked hard for that. And just saying that is unattainable is ridiculous, because it's absolutely not unattainable. It's a thing. You can get like that if you want to get like that. Do you know what I mean? It all depends on your genetics and your body shape. I just think just throwing it out there and saying, oh, women like that don't exist, is going to make women who do exist like that get their backs up and be annoyed, as well as having the opinion of, oh, women with hairy armpits and facial hair don't exist. Listen, they do exist. I literally have facial hair. I keep a razor in my car because I can grow a hairy face within a few hours due to being Middle Eastern. It's not a sin and it's not unattractive, okay? It happens, it's real. And I feel what really hits home for me and how I can relate to this from my perspective is that I am a petite woman. I like looking glamorous, I like looking cute, I like makeup, I like looking feminine, I like being feminine. Also, I'm petite with curves. For instance, if I post a picture on Instagram in this outfit, it might get a reaction if a girl who doesn't have my body shape or doesn't have my skin color or doesn't look like me, she's gonna get a different reaction. For instance, I have a friend who has a very big behind naturally, and she will do videos of her walking down the street, going to the bookshop, and there's another girl who does that kind of content and she gets called cute and wholesome because she's slimmer, because she's less glamorous. And I think that's so toxic and bad because it makes people who are a little curvier feel like they should hide their body because they have curves. She could be wearing jeans and be called a, and the girl who is wearing the jeans, who is slimmer than her, is just, oh, she's so wholesome, she's going to the bookshop, what are you reading? It's a bigger problem that we have in society, and because of society's opinions on women, we are now getting to a point where our video games are being changed to fit a certain narrative and pretend that it's not realistic to be a glamorous, curvy woman, because honestly, that is realistic. I see them all the time. I always see them. I'm no better than a man, I see them. So to conclude, ultimately what I'm saying with this, why not mix the Tifas with the Abbys? Why not have a mix of both? Why can't we not just embrace all women in video games and not make it feel like women are bad for looking the way they look and we should delete them from the universe? Because that's not how we should live our lives, and we shouldn't be living our life simping over video game characters either. But that's unfortunately what happens, and that's what women do to the male video characters, and that's what men do to the female video game characters. Some people take it too far, so if you're one of those, go touch some grass, please, now. On that note, I'm going to leave this discussion open. What do you think? Should we be de-glamourifying video games or not? And if you can't leave it out there, cyber hugs. Lovely. Oh, was that too glamorous?